3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? You are watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Joining me today are real Dr. Venkman, except no substitutions, and the Fred Flintstone himself, Eric Breen, the guru of back issue books. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great, Ash. Do you want to get your phone? We'll wait.
Oh, that wasn't my phone. Shut your phone off, RDV. And speaking of RDV, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Halloween, right, man.
It's Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. So, this is sort of a sophomore episode of the video that I did with RDV back, where we did a live review of, what was that book called? Rorschach. And, it just kind of dawdled. I have that word in my brain now. It just sort of was like percolating in my head, this idea of like sour grapes, the word sour grapes. And I was like, sour capes. And I was like, it'd be a cool thing is just do a semi-regular, but, improv, whatever, not scheduled, but, just a once in a while thing. Who knows? I don't know what I'm talking about. But a stream where we not make fun of, review. You guys know what I'm talking about.
A stream where we read bad books.
There we go. We're just we're the old geezers in the what are those names, Eric? You know those guys, the Muppets.
Yeah, the two old men.
The two old men on the Muppets that are like. Rah, rah, rah.
No, that's We've Got Issue. That's me and Eric and
this could be called books that need to be better.
Be better books.
First episode of Piss on Comics.
Be better.
Be back better. So thank you all for everyone that's in the chat. Kind of joined us. This was improv. Kind of just jumped out. There was no notification. So if you're seeing this live, then thank you for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and just share the screen of what I'm doing here. There we go. Nope. Share screen. Share it. There we go. And
you're welcome.
Thanks. There we go. We've got Batgirl. This is number 50. Look at this just stellar cover, by the way. This just screams everything you're about to partake in this.
Look at the shark, the fox, and then I think there's the vulture.
I don't remember any Joker in this book, but that just could be because I have brain damage after reading this.
And look how young Dick Grayson looks. He looks like a disheveled he's 14, 15 years old.
All right. So there's some ad for some dark multiverse books that I don't know if many people are interested in. So this book, wow. RDV and Eric kind of both approached me earlier last week and talked to me like, we should read this book. We should talk about this book. And I was like, I don't know if I want to read that book. And they're like, no, you want to read this book. And so I did. And I was like, oh God, we definitely have to do something. Guys, real quick, I'll just start with RDV. Just take a few minutes quickly. Like, what's the standout thing? What were your feelings after you were done with this book?
Well, Stella art wasted on a horrible political story. That's my feeling. I was pretty much disheveled. Like right now, I'm having a beer just to read this again.
That's a smart idea. I wish I had some. Eric, what about you?
Well, it left me weighing 28 plus years of sobriety going, is it worth it? This was, it's hard to put into words just how disappointing this comic book was, because I will credit where credit is due. At least the Joker War tie-in issues of Batgirl weren't bad. In fact, I would go as far as to say they were actually borderline good. They didn't drag down the other entries in the event. And it was almost like she couldn't wait to show us what she had wanted to do all along, which was this. And I'm not sure what this is, but that's why we're here. We're gonna try to find out.
So I have only read Cecil Castellucci, the writer of this book. I've only read her first Batgirl book, that she started, did a review on that, and then I skipped everything else because of what I read. And then I read this because of you guys. And so this is sort of the bookend books. Now, I've heard from other sources like you just now and England Teen who've said that they've enjoyed some Cecil Castellucci books, to which I don't understand. But I haven't read them, so I can't argue either. It just boggles me after I read the 2 books that I have that how she could write anything else. But let's get into this. The thing that got me about this book was just how it felt like Cecil was just writing her own feelings in the book. Like this was just all her interjecting herself into Batgirl and how her worldview essentially. We open up with a funeral. Gordon has just buried his son, and Barbara is at first like, oh, you aren't to blame, Dad, and being all nice, and then quickly turns to, well, I'm hurting too, and it's like it's all about me. It's like it goes from like, I'm consoling my dad, my brother's dead, my dad's grieving, and he's like kind of tells her, I hope you never have it in your heart broken like that, Barbara. That kind of pain never heals. And it's like, well, I'm hurting too, Dad. And all along, guys can see that there's this monologue running in the boxes that Barbara's constantly like thinking out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just, gosh, she's just insufferable. She's like, I tried to reach out to JJ, tried to pull him back. He wanted to slip away. And it just basically everyone in the comic, from my perspective, is a failure but Barbara. Yeah,
I love how she gets upset right there, kind of there, because her dad's like, well, Batgirl, and like, it's her fault, and all this stuff. And he's like, and she basically like starts yelling at him and doesn't explain him, but like, I could tell him right now that I'm Batgirl, and go off on him and all, but I decided not to, and just walks away. I'm like, then why did you get upset? You should just walk. You shouldn't have done that at all.
Yeah, literally, they just left a funeral where he buried his son, and now he's saying, Babs, are you okay? You have no idea the lengths that I have gone to protect you. And now keep in mind, from Gordon's perspective, Batgirl killed his son.
Yeah.
He's like, Batgirl killed. She's just pissed off now because she knows she's Batgirl, and he's like, in the monologues, like, I should tell him, but I can't. Like, you're just like, yeah, you can't because you're a dumb bitch. And you're hiding secrets from your dad, and then you're blaming him from not knowing these secrets and being pissed off that his son is dead because that's not you. And I was just like, oh my God, I've never seen it. And then, of course, you see on this right page here, look, we got the Antifa pulling down the statues. That's not topical at all. And look, she joins the rally. She's like, look, they're pulling down a statue. That's a federal offense that Trump just said will put you 10 years in prison. And then she runs over and joins hands with, of course, 2 dark-skinned people.
That was where I knew. I was like, oh man, I need to get up here for this.
And then she's going around, and she just goes around all of Gotham. She's talking to. She works for a congressman, of course, because she's helping the world, like the good, perfect being that Barbara Gordon is. And then she's got this black court. And I say this all the time. If you guys watch my show, why do SJW comic? Why do they always write black girls with these little ball things in their head? Every single time, it's the moon girl look. It's like, do black girls ever have a different haircut, or do you just all the same?
Is that so? I heard from people that's supposed to be the new Batgirl or Batwoman. That's supposed to be in the TW. That's her character right there in the red jacket.
Yeah, on the right page you see the girl in the red hoodie.
Yeah,
that's the new Batwoman.
Yeah, which I never would even known until somebody said that, because like it doesn't tell you in here at all.
Well, right, it's the first appearance.
Yeah. That's why this book is blowing up.
Right. Yeah, if you're a speculator, this is a book you want to get, because apparently this character is going to be popular, and I'm shaking my head sideways. No, don't. So this Batwoman character, of course, she's insufferable too. And Barbara's like kind of lecturing her and keep your heads up and da-da. I'm like, Barbara, you're going to be answering to she's going to be Batwoman while you're still Batgirl. You just don't know it yet. And she's dating this complete ineffectual beta male guy Jason. And excuse me if I'm not educated on what's been going on. Like, people maybe reading Batgirl go like, "Well, you don't know about this guy," and I'm like, "No, because I don't read the book."
I can help with that.
Okay.
If I may, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, first of all, can we just talk about how comically stupid it is that Commissioner Gordon doesn't know that his daughter's Batgirl?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's one. I know we make allowances for him not having figured out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, although in past iterations he kind of lets on that he has, but he, in a way, he doesn't want to know, but he knows. And there have been other iterations where he's known his daughter was Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as Jason Bard goes, their relationship goes back to the late 60s. So he's been around. The character's been around for 50 plus years, and they've dated off and on. Never has he been as beta. I mean, he was a badass with his bad leg for years. But again, this is 2020 modern comics, and this brings to mind just Barbara's personality. And yes, you absolutely nailed it on the head when you said she is Cecil Castellucci is writing herself through. Barbara's just the vessel for Cecil to get her virtue signal on, and it's I said the character is just completely smug, self-impressed. This was just terrible.
Yeah. So of course, in every SJW comic, there has to be food and eating and sitting around and talking over food and whatever. And Barbara's sorry because she's been deceiving him, like she deceives everyone in her life that she apparently supposedly loves.
Ash, E's backstage if you want to.
No, it is. I wasn't planning on anyone. How do I stop this thing?
How do I get off this crazy ride?
Oh boy. Hey, Englentine, welcome. I was thinking you'd be prepping for your stream, so
I am, but I figure this is an interesting topic, and from what I've heard, it's a good thing you didn't watch the video because you and I are on the same page on a lot of stuff. Although I do like the Afro puffs thing. That's what the hairstyle's called. It's Afro puffs.
Okay, and, now I know.
Not quite.
Well, we got a lot of comic to blast through and very little time to do it. So
on ahead.
I'm going to be expeditious as much as I can do. You guys know me. So Batgirls. This whole time, I just feel like this book is Cecil just writing how she wants the world. Like she now sees Batgirl's over at the Batcave lecturing Batman and how everything he does is wrong, and then Dick Grayson shows up and he's like, "Hey, Babs, can we talk?" No, or not much time to talk, or sorry, not much to talk about. There's work to do. I can tell Dick feels bad, but what's he gonna do to help? And he's like, "I lost my memory, Babs. I think I should get a pass for fighting me in a cage, for blaming me about the hospital, for forgetting me. That was Joker. You know that." And still, she's like,
"Yep.
I'm glad you got your memories back, Dick, but I don't know you anymore." And I'm like, what a fucking bitch, dude.
Completely different. She was written completely different in the Joker War, where she was very understanding about the whole thing. Anyway.
Yeah. And so she rides off on her little cycle. Let's keep it strictly professional. I've got my own life to live. Oh, is that why you're wearing the suit of someone else's life?
Yeah.
Is that why? So she goes to the clock tower, which I guess is her base.
Yes.
And she's just lamenting. She's just talking about all, this is just all garbage about how all the good in the world she does. And now she needs a nice hot soak.
Hot soak, that's ice, bro.
Was that ice? Oh, sorry, the arts. I thought it was a bubble bath, but you're right. If I look close. So
hot soak with bruises on your legs? I don't think so.
And that's what Jason's going to soak in later because he ain't getting none.
Right. So Jason's preparing for. None of this really matters. We get this long talk. Look at this. Look at this page on the left here.
Where did she get so much ice, though?
I don't know. Maybe she's got an ice
At the
maker.
gas station, is Batgirl. I need to buy 5.
It looks like
Oh,
she's
that's
living-
right. Yeah, Jason. I'm sure she probably called him on the way home, and she's like, "Yo, bitch boy, go to the 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
and
go
pick
clear
up
out the
10 bags of
7-Eleven.
ice."
Like I said, I still love the art. I just don't like the story.
The art is pretty. The art is pretty good.
She's an Italian artist. Has worked for DC. Has drawn Wonder Woman wonderfully and stuff. She's done covers, interiors.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not really great comic art for me because I like, pardon my bias, but I like the Marvel way. I love the dynamicism that the old school Marvel used to preach all the way how you do comics. This is very fine illustration. I absolutely and it works for this story as much as I hate the story. For this type of like family drama, I feel like I'm reading. What are those Mexican soap operas called?
Oh,
Telenovelas.
Yeah, I feel like that's what this is.
I mean, she's restricted to whatever the writer does.
Ash, you know how you can tell this is not like a telenovela? There's no busty babe hanging out of her top.
Okay. Yeah.
That's telenovela 101.
Muy caliente.
But look at this as I'm flipping through the pages. Like, this is like one of the biggest pieces of action is someone throws a rock through a window.
And
of course,
I love how her dad ends up siding with her too in the next page.
Oh, sure. And I mean, of course, the congresswoman she works for is a person of color, of course, and of course she's hated by all the evil white people.
It's AOC.
Yeah, this is one of the most self-aggrandizing
it is
books that I've read.
It's a white woman telling a person of color what to do.
Now there's, it's weird though you say that, Ashley. That's true, but you notice that the so perfect, girl that can code but can't figure out a way to not live in her van said she'd vote her out if she had a permanent address. That does not compute.
Well, yes, but that's because that girl is misled and Barbara's got to set her straight.
Oh, that's right.
Right. Yeah, she's a misled person of color that needs a rich white girl to.
My apologies for speaking out of turn.
But like here we see in the left page lower panels, bitch boy as I'm calling him. I can't believe you convinced a dinosaur to evolve. Do you mean you or my dad? Both.
Wait, she likes older guys that are like.
He responds, both. I was like, you are, oh my God, dude, no wonder this woman is so, into herself. Like she just, this is the last page of the book is her posing. Like I feel like she mounted a camera right where the viewer's looking.
Like Spider-Man.
And like, all right, I'm going to take a shot here. Look at me posing with my batarang. Woo! We're going to put this on Instagram later. And that's the end of the story. This book is 3 stories.
There's
one.
There's one big thing though I liked when they're in the Batcave. You were talking about Dick Grayson, but you didn't talk about her conversation with Bruce. She said, "Bruce, you're rich. You need to give the money to the people." He's like, "Well, I did. I donated to the charities, to the police, to the hospital." She's like, "No, you got to get right to the people." I'm thinking, this is Hellcat 101. We're getting Iron Man 2 in DC comic.
Yeah. Good point.
When I see the behavior of redheads in comics in 2020, maybe the ginger side's not the worst idea out there.
do you know what Bruce said? She's like, "Bruce, I know you're not a billionaire anymore." And he's like, "Well, technically, I'm a millionaire."
Well, Bruce needs to be better.
He needs to build back better and get his billionaire status back.
Ash, yes. The whole thing that I said, Cecil Castellucci writing herself through Babs. It kind of reminds me of something that Richard likes to say in his videos. SJWs don't human very well. And wow, this is a textbook example of that.
This is also Daredevil as well.
Yeah. This is where Batman's explaining. She says, "Bruce,
Batmansplaining.
Batmansplaining. Bruce, did you know the people of Gotham are struggling to rebuild right now? Big corporations like yours are trying to buy up all the property." And Batman says, "I'm off the board of Wayne Enterprises now. I'll go talk to Lucius and see what I can do. I gotta say, I think you're wrong. Gotham needs your help. Oh no, sorry, I read the panel wrong because this is. Sorry, I'll see what I can do. You're still a millionaire, Bruce. Not a billionaire, a millionaire. That's a big difference. You can donate money to help people in Gotham. Yes, after I deal with Joker's goons who are still wreaking havoc on the streets. I gotta say, I think you're wrong. Gotham needs your help right now. And that's why I called you three here today. Well, where did you donate to anyway? And I'm like, Jesus, woman. She's just like, Batman devotes his life to helping people. Like every waking moment, Batman is like, I'm off to the end of the universe, saving the universe. Did you pissed 2 seconds too long? You could have been donating money that second. Like, oh my God. And what's crazy about this book is how the SJW writers like this, like they don't even understand their own writing. Like Batman is actually talking logical here, but they write it as if it's not logical. The rest of us go, yeah, hey, Batman's talking some sense.
Yeah, he said the DCP, the museum, the hospitals, and all.
But Cecil writes Babs like it's like that's retarded. That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. Like that's Babs' point of view because I believe that's Cecil's point of view, and it's so weird how it will actually accidentally write logic in their books.
Well, Nick Spencer did that with the Red Skull during the whole Hydra Cap thing, where Red Skull sounded reasonable, but to Nick Spencer, it obviously he's the bad guy because they just think diametrically opposed to the way we do.
Right. Oh man. So moving on, and I'm going to give you guys all sorts of time to talk. I'm really just trying to get through the book so we can move. So we get this stay centered, the second story. And look, the last story ended with a pose for the camera, and the first story starts with one.
Well, no, it's the same story. She just stood up.
This art is just so not good.
That's not.
It's definitely not as good as
it's Tumblr art.
This is like I hear you don't like Riley Rosmo. Well, I'm going to make you. That's how bad.
Batgirl
doesn't have boobs. We just there's no depth at all in that whole photo. It's just straight.
It is a backup story, so I'm a little more forgiving. It is also Batgirl, which doesn't sell.
Well, they had to follow that horrible first story.
Hey, I think I am the only one that buys Batgirl seriously up to this point. This is the last issue, but
yeah. So it starts a typical day in Gotham. I have my routine down, and it's got these little. What do these books always have? Cooking. So I got my routine down. So coffee, breakfast.
Sprinkle.
And then I get the call, and she's like doing warm-ups. I guess is that what's supposed to be? Yeah. Batgirl, I need you. Where are you? Meet me at the coordinates. I'm on my way. Jumping on her cycle, and this whole book is essentially her running to help people, but here's the theme of it right now. So she shows up to the Hall of Justice. I work twice as hard and pitch in every time there's a crisis, but where's my rogues gallery? That's what she's doing when she's showing up to the Hall of Justice. She's not even a Justice League member, but she's the Justice League are like, hey, we need your help. What's on her mind isn't like, oh my God, what sort of world crisis can I help and save people? No, that's not what's on her mind. What's on her mind is, where's my rogues gallery? How come I don't have that? And then Martian Manhunter's like, Batgirl, what are you doing here? You folks called me? There's an invasion and you needed my help. Oh, well, Supergirl is here now, so go take the day off. And then Supergirl, you see, she's
that's the smartest thing in this entire book.
Right. And she's like, sup, Babs? Seems I got the short straw this time. And then Babs, and this is like the most catty sort of like passive aggressive conversation, right? Like Babs is like, oh, okay, Martian Manhunter, I have my own stuff going on anyway. Supergirl says, Babs, if you want to fight this evil thing, the gig is yours. No, I'm tired of being pulled in all directions. And so, I know. And it's like they just wave to each other. Look, Supergirl's got her Starbucks coffee while the annihilation of the world is happening behind her. And she's just like, okay, I guess that's my cue. See ya. Good luck. I'm not ad-libbing here. This is how the book is written. It's a bummer to be seen, but not seen. for once, whatever that is, it's not my problem. And look what's going on behind her. She just like walks away from it like, whatever, not my problem. I can get back to what's important to me in my life. Jesus, this is the worst superhero ever. And so she's driving home and sees a guy on a skateboard is going to get hit, saves the day, and then she comes across this hacker sign thing.
Biological.
Yeah, it's not it's a bio symbol, but it's this rogue hacker who's hacking the cities, leaving some thing saying, if you don't listen, I'll infect you. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm on the case." And this actually would have had the makings of a decent little story, but the problem is every interaction is like people keep calling her for help, and she's like, "No, this is my case. Like, you guys can wait on me, And so she won't help. Like Green Lantern's like, "Hey, Batgirl, where are you going?" That poll worker's name was Virus. That's who's behind this. Literally, look at this woman. Her name is Vi Ross. That's some serious detective. Like, what kind of? She named herself Vi Ross. She's the one making the viruses.
It's pronounced V Ross.
Yeah. There's a Green Lantern villain named Sinestro. I think there's a pass on some names. Just saying.
It's true. But it rang corny.
It is. I am kidding around,
but so Batgirl's on the case and she runs up to her boyfriend, bitch boy. And like, "Hey, Batgirl," and she's like, "Jason, come on, I want to show you something." So she gets him involved for some reason, and so they're finding like vials of like literal viruses, and they're labeled. For some reason, like the villain just puts the urgent care that they're from. So like, I know right where to go. It's like the dumbest detective case ever. So Batgirl shows up and just kicks in the place without really any evidence, just breaking and entering. And inside, we got H1N1, Ebola is inside here. No, right? And then something that's just called plague.
Trojan horse. That's plague.
It's like
H1N1. Where's COVID?
Yeah, well, I don't know where COVID is. That's way too deadly for this. And so she confronts Virus, and they'd have this stupid talk about viruses, and that just are basically, if anyone that knows anything about actual viruses, you realize that Cecil doesn't, and it's all pointless anyway because the whole thing was to give Batgirl her own rogues gallery. So the end of the book is, it's time to stay in my own story with my own enemies to fight. A rogues gallery I can handle myself. If not, I have a bunch of heroes I can call to help. They owe me some favors anyway. And like, look at this last panel. She's just like, it's all about me.
I hate to break it to you, kid, but that's your last book.
How long has she been drinking in that panel?
That's a good question, Eric. That's a great question. But and honestly, I could have done a video for 2 hours on this book. I had to rush through. I miss so much cringe just for the sake of trying to blast through it. And if any of you guys on the panel, like RDV did a moment ago with the whole Batcave scene, remember something that I skipped over, I can definitely
remember when she was whining because when she found out that Bruce's quote unquote children were getting stipends and she didn't.
Oh yeah, that was from the first story.
Yeah, that's yeah.
He raised them, you selfish. I'll tell you what, one thing I mentioned in the video, you touched upon it, but every line of dialogue from Batgirl in this book could be just sort of brought down to that's all it sounds like all throughout the book. It's just whining all the way through.
Somebody screen cap that, please.
I would have loved to have Harley Quinn. You know, great Harley Quinn. Like just telling her, like, shut the f up. Do you ever just shut up? Just like, God, I don't even want to be a villain anymore.
Let me mansplain something here to you. You are what we call a biatch. Yeah, it's not good.
Go back to the library. Read a book.
Yeah, this book, I just it's painful to read because there's no real good stories here. And it's just all about Batgirl being like, what about me? What about me? Hey, look at me. I'm screaming for attention. And also just turning into a grade A bitch. Like
Mariah's
Dick Grayson, in my opinion, Dick Grayson should be the love of her life. That's my opinion.
And I think this person, Kiss Leach, is not like Dick Grayson whatsoever, wants to keep her away from that. I'm like, well, great. For all us Corey and Dick Grayson fans, thank you.
Yeah.
We just proved our point why no one likes Batgirl.
Actually,
I'm okay with like them being kind of separate and just being heroes, right? That's fine too. I don't necessarily want them necessarily to be married and like, but just have that romance, whether it be on and off, because I always think of comics as kind of a snippet in time. I don't necessarily want to watch Babs and Dick get old and have grandkids.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But this is like the opposite of that. This is like she just treats him like shit, and I'm like, how? I'm reading. This is the title of this book is Batgirl. I'm supposed to like the main character. You're not supposed to make me hate her.
Yep. And Marty's saying that they had someone buy a nuclear sub in Batman 66 movie named KG Bird, aka Penguin. So stupidly linked names between villains and alter egos is a Batman tradition.
I thought it was Mr. P. N. Gwynn who bought
That's
the
not
sub.
bad.
Yeah.
Ash has to say that scene where she's leaving, where she's spinning out in front of Dick and leaving. That's probably the closest this book came to not sucking for one panel when Barbara at least mentioned B. The girl that Dick was involved with when he was
right. Yeah.
So that was like for one half of one panel, she actually behaved like a normal human being and not this, caricature of SJW self-aggrandizing.
I like.
Well, and the thing is, she doesn't even feel like Batgirl to me in this book doesn't feel even really like an SJW. She feels like a super Karen.
Yeah, she really does. It's amazing. But I want to touch on Naomi Part 2. She's living in a van down by the river. And there's no other way to say that. I don't care. Fight me. You won't change my mind. So she's living in a van down by the river. And someone comes up and says, hey, I'll help you out. And then, if you got to, and then she goes, well, if I had a permanent address, then maybe I'll be like, wait, there's like right now 2 people standing in front of you wanting to help you get into a permanent address, and you flicked one of them off. Just saying. Right. I mean, yeah, the leaf is covering it, but that's the bird right there. That not only did Cecil Castellucci manage to write Barbara Gordon really crappy, but this new character that everybody's, and I'm telling you, I said this in the video, I'll say it here. I think it's a lot of comic book shops that ordered too heavy on Batgirl number 50. Nobody gives a crap about Batwoman, the TV show. This character appearing shouldn't have made anything. Did you see
with KK though?
The first appearance of what's her name, Alice or whatever, go up in value? Did you see the appearance of any character who made their first appearance in any CW TV show go up in value?
Well, no. Alice is already in the comic for us.
Yeah, well, point being is the first appearance didn't go up in value.
Yeah,
well, they're on the TV show. This is comic shops right here, man.
Sure, I would not bet on this character causing this to be valuable. I would not. I believe you're right, but there still is the possibility that 10 years down the road, some writer could come along and turn this character into something fantastic, and you're just like, whoa! And it's like this book's been languishing in the dollar bins, and then next thing you know. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
That's the way.
I would way bet against that.
That's the way God intended it. Thank you very much.
Well, I just hope they don't think they're going to like replace Kate Kane in the comic books. So that's stupid. A lot of people will love Kate Kane in the comic books, and they like this new character. To replace her with that, people just well, you know what? Why is Batwoman books not selling? Because you got rid of Kate Kane.
No, that's not going to happen. But
watch,
or she'd have to have a book for her to not be selling in too.
Yeah, so this is the scene that England team was referring to. It's real quick. It's just a couple panels. And basically Barbara shows up like, the rich white girl to help out the impoverished black woman. That Cecil seems completely unaware of what she's writing here. But she's like, oh, I'd hate to see you in jail. Blah. maybe if Congresswoman Alejo spent less time promoting her new dog park and more time on housing for the homeless, but she doesn't. If I had a fixed address, I'd vote her out.
Maybe if you get a job.
And then we see Barbara just staring along, being like, "But voting is a way to change things, Ryan. Let me know if you want help with housing." And she says, "I have to remember to talk to Alejo about the homeless crisis and her voter registration. As Barbara, that's the one person I can help for change for the better." And it's like, dude, you're just an assistant to the congresswoman. Like, this idea that she's listening to you, like, oh, I'm glad this campaign helper is making me alter my campaign because she said something. Like, it's two avenues of society clashing together, and the writer seems completely ignorant about how they aren't actually on the same side, and they're trying to write this thing about how, oh, poor Ryan doesn't understand that Barbara's really there for her, and she doesn't understand, and Ryan, Barbara obviously doesn't understand that, why Ryan doesn't need her help. And it's like, that's because you guys are opposites. One of you is the rich, privileged class that doesn't actually give a shit, that you're just insufferably into yourself the whole time. You don't even care about your own freaking dead brother and your dad who's in mourning. Like, you are one of these people that just pretends to care because that's the way you want to project yourself to the world, so everyone sees you like, look at me, I'm caring about the world, but you're not actually caring. And then we got this other woman, Ryan, who, like, look, I'm not interested in the Batwoman show, but I kind of understand. She's a kid who's had hard luck and she lives in a van and she's bitter. So what? Like, anyways, I don't want to go off the rails.
I'll just say, going back to where she's complaining about that Dick and all the guys, they get allowances. I'm thinking, like, gee, are you upset because DC's not paying you enough compared to the better writers?
That might.
Wow, dude. No, there's some truth to that. If I remember, Cecil Castellucci was one of the ones. There was a Bat, like several years ago. There was a Bat family meeting at DC, and they invited a bunch of writers to coordinate what big events they were going to do within the Bat family universe of DC. And I'm pretty sure it was Cecil. I may be wrong.
I think it was Hope Larson.
Okay, it might have been Hope Larson. Was not invited to the thing, and then was all bitter. It's like, but I should be part of this. I write Batgirl. Yeah, you're right, because Cecil wasn't writing Batgirl at the time. Just like,
and actually, to her point, that she actually got sales up, and then when she left, they fell back down. So, yeah, she may have had a bit of a point, because she was probably selling. Yeah, Batgirl was comparable to some of the other Bat books.
Was Hope the one that did the one that was anti-SJW? And there was one, a storyline where this Antifa-like feminist group kidnapped a whole bunch of men and wanted to kill them. And they were actually saying, look, guys, you're going overboard with all of this. We understand your feelings, but it's like, too much.
That might have been her.
Yeah, and this definitely 180 that bull crap. I mean, we can't have that going on in a comic book these days. But I would like to point out also, if you think about their politics, and that's what this book is, it's all external, by the way. Oh, if you want to help the people can't change internally. The violence isn't a cultural thing. There's nothing cultural. Everything that happens is an external force. That money is the one thing that'll fix it.
Yeah.
That is the politics of Cecil Castellucci.
Real quickly, Marnie is pointing out, does anyone else see Batgirl's Bat logo on a costume looks like the top of a bra?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible. But I just wanted to talk about this one panel here real quick. So there's this, like, chick that works at a clinic, and she's been hacking some stuff, and Barbara's got to fight her or whatever. I think this is a pathetic villain, but whatever. There is Ebola right there. This could this could destroy the nation if this got out. Like,
I bumped it over. My bad.
Ebola is serious. Like this is like, the Batgirl's just like, whatever. I just need to beat my little rogue thing here. Like, dude, woman, you need to lock this shit. Call the Justice League.
What's the one about him? Steamworm?
You need Green Lantern's help right now. Put a construct around this thing. Bring it off into space. Throw it in the sun. I mean, it'd be nice if we had superheroes and we could actually do those things. But instead, she's like, oh, none of these things. Look at her, like her face as she looks at these, like, oh, yeah, these aren't that bad. I'll just beat
She's
up
like,
this
really?
girl.
Did you really just hit me? Gosh. I am totally going to cheer you down on social media. How dare you?
Yeah. All right. And finally, I'm not really going to go in this detail. This was a total throwaway story at the end where
Hey, we'll go back though. We got fishnets though.
the writer expects us to believe that in their spare time, Batgirl hosts a D&D game, Dungeons and Dragons, with another bunch of hot chicks that are all, of course, superheroes, and they all sit around the table like the rest of us dorks would, and play Dungeons and Dragons. But then in the middle of the game, they get a call. Oh no! An oracle's on the case, and they go and have to fight some stupid bad guys that are just all pointless. And hold on real quick. And the whole point is at the end, it was Batgirl kind of like told a life lesson, and all the girls like get it. She's like, "Oh, I get it. I don't use my tech enough." And it's like how role playing games will teach you to be better people.
So my question is, does Black Canary just wear her fishnets wherever she goes?
Apparently.
Well,
Thank God for
there
that.
Okay, Ash, there was one thing though. That, apparently they went to break up a child trafficking ring, but they stayed in their D&D characters because that's how seriously they were taking a possible child trafficking ring. And then they stop them, and then they go home, and it's back to funsies, and not one word about what could have happened if they hadn't broken up the child trafficking ring.
Oh, that's why I'm so glad Eric is here. Thank you, Eric. You surmised it perfectly.
They like orange soda.
God.
And for once, DC has advertised correctly here with this Victor and Nora book that seems like the same target audience. I always make fun and go, do they know? Why are they putting these in like my Batman book? I don't. Who wants to read these? No, that's Victor and Nora. That's Doctor.
I don't know.
That's Mr. Freeze, Dr. Freeze. I always mix them up.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
They race swapped.
One other thing, if I may, real quick, Ash. This book wiped out any progress that the character of Barbara Gordon and Batgirl had made, whether she was written by James Tynion in Detective, where she comes across as more not just competent, but she's earned her place as if not the smartest person in the room, as smart as anybody in the room. Like I said, the issues leading up to this, pretty well written, but that's the problem. Is that this is also considered canon. So how do you take this character seriously when all of it is wiped out on the way out the door? Now maybe nobody will read this because maybe that's why they planted a false something for speculators to chase to improve sales, so maybe more people will read this than would ordinarily have. But this is a problem I have with Marvel and DC. It's hard to, and especially more Marvel, it's hard to take some of the good stories seriously when you know that over in Squirrel Girl, she's one-punching Galactus. So on a much smaller scale, but how are we supposed to take Oracle is the glue that held the DC universe together for a decade. And now that same person 1 month ago was setting up shop as Oracle again. 1 month later, she's this whiny, self-absorbed, self-impressed bitch brat that no one that cares about comics would ever want to read again.
She gets mad at her dad because she didn't tell her that she's Batgirl. That whole scene was about, Dad, you don't know I'm Batgirl. Grrr, I should tell you, but I'm not.
Right.
Eric, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
This last story, and we have Captain Marvel issue 17 with Escape Room. Which one is better in your opinion?
Do I have an option C that involves heavy drinking or gunplay?
Well, I got to say, so this is the second episode, and I hope to do more of these types of things. So the only one we did was Rorschach, and this is tough. Like Rorschach wasn't offensive. It was just boring. This was
confusing, actually.
This one wasn't boring, but it was just infuriating. Like I was just, I just wanted to see Barbara die in every panel. Just like, can Joker come by? How about actually the new girl, Punchline, this break Barbara's back? Like I was just, and I'm being facetious a little bit here. I'm not really that, but I just wanted to. I just didn't like the character. I was just, you shouldn't be doing that. The idea of when you're writing anything, books, comics, movies, the characters, at least the prime characters, you should have characters that you hate. That's important too, but not the main one, and especially not one that's been around for 60 years. I don't know how long Batgirl's been around, but she's been around for ages. She's got lots of fans. You shouldn't. This is not your playground to go around. And this is what reminds me of what Marvel was doing 5 years ago, of just being like, we're going to just turn all of our characters insufferable.
So, Ash,
yeah.
Randy's saying, Castellucci, the new Chelsea Kane for DC. The only thing really missing from this is a Batgirl wearing a certain 3-letter group's t-shirt proclaiming their message on the cover.
Yeah, I mean, remember, kid, this is the girl that wrote
Upgrade for
the Female Furies with the Bake Off in Apocalypse.
Did it really just pop up a soda ad on where you get soda?
It's not actual soda. It's a PDF program I use.
If the goal is to hate your characters, this is an embarrassment of riches.
Yep.
Yeah, and this last panel kind of sums it up for me, of just the utter ridiculous nature of these 5 hot chicks who are supposed to be saving Gotham. Apparently they all hang out together. Babs, of course, completely neglects her beta male boy, and is probably sitting at home going, I wonder where Babs is. Oh, she's probably doing good, saving the city. And
she said a girls' night. Okay, well, I can't hang with my friends though, but she can have a girls' night.
I'm sure Jason's picking up Babs' other boyfriend at the airport.
Oh, anyways, you guys, thank you guys on the panel for joining me to make this. Was really fun to talk about. I don't want to keep these relatively short, between 30, 45 minutes at max. You guys in the audience, because of the length of this book, we didn't really get a chance to go with the chat. That's my goal going forward, is to have more chat interaction. But thank you for participating and talking. I don't know what else. Does anyone have any final thoughts? We'll start with RDV.
Well, final thoughts. I just thought about this. Her complaining about not getting an allowance. Her dad would raise questions. Why is Bruce Wayne giving you all this money? Are you sleeping with him?
That would be hilarious. Gordon's like, why are you?
Did we lose him? Did Batgirl kill him?
Gee, that's never happened, that the host has been knocked off his own show before. There he goes.
All right.
Eric, what is your final thoughts?
If you're asking if spelled THOTS, mine would be just pick a page and enjoy.
Oh my gosh, that's a perfect name for this issue. The final thoughts. Thanks, Eric. And in Englentine, anything? I know you did. Englentine, by the way, for everyone, Englentine did a whole video.
Yeah,
doing his own.
About 25 minutes worth of me ranting about this thing.
So yeah. he's probably got a lot of content that I didn't discuss here. So go check that out.
As it's been said, if you like get off Englentine's lawn kind of thing, check out that video. The thing here's my last word on this. I freaking love to hate this book. This is the kind of book that a YouTuber is so grateful for, because just it's so meaty in its badness. I mean, you pointed out this last half. I haven't even touched it. I haven't even read it, but there's another video for it. So as a YouTuber, how can you not love this book? I would recommend nobody else to touch it, but
yeah,
this is not a book that you want to buy and just sit by yourself and read, but this is a book if you want to sit and have a few drinks and just tear it to pieces. I honestly, I have to credit Cecil Castellucci. You gave me great amount of entertainment. Just making this video made this book worth it.
Mm-hmm. And is killing me.
And with that, Thank you, everyone, again. We're going to sign off now. Have a great time. Englentine is going to be doing a stream of his own tonight with an auction, and I believe Englentine, you have a book reading.
Fingers crossed if everything goes right. I'm going to finally do that Cycle of the Werewolf thing. Never haven't done it before, so see if
all right.
He's giving you a title for your next video: Karens and Dragons.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and see you over at Englentine stream. Take care.
Good night, kids.